Hey everybody, this is Angela R. Sasser, fantasy artist, geek, and gamer. I wanted to continue the trend of showing my face on camera, so hello from my face. A lot of you responded on the last video saying that you enjoyed seeing my face on camera because it was like seeing an old friend, and I haven't seen so many of you since I've been out of the convention game, so it's really good to get that face-to-face time in some form or fashion. And so, welcome to the video. I'll be talking a little bit about my year in art summary. And usually that's been a long, rambly blog post each year, but now I decided to try and do that in video form instead. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how my year was, and then show you pieces from each month, and then talk about some goals for next year. So let's get to it. So how was my year? There are highs and lows, and we're going to go over the lows first because then it'll make the highs sound better, right? So the lows for me are definitely facing a lot of existential dread. First and foremost because of the advent of generative AI and its more widespread use to replace illustration in the industry. And I could make a whole other video about that. But for me personally, it's had me reconsidering whether I want illustration to stay on this career path. And I'll go over more about what I'm considering in the goals area of this video, but for me, it's just been a lot of introspection and dread and just not knowing whether I chose the right path. But you know, I'll always love art and I'll always be creating, but whether I want to do it for a career anymore, I'm definitely questioning. And that's a real low. And then I also this year had a bit of a cancer scare where I had to plan for actually having treatment, even though I wasn't sure whether I would or not. So that derailed everything I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to do a really big production and release my calendar, my Birthstone Goddesses calendar for everyone in a big way, but I had to scale that back because I didn't want to overlap a Kickstarter with possible cancer treatments. So, but that leads us to a really nice high in that what I'm dealing with cancer-wise is stable and hopefully won't be a problem. It's like a benign thing that I won't have to worry about. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. So that's really good news. And I'm also finished the Birthstone Goddesses project. Even if I wasn't able to throw the big going away party for it that I wanted, I finished after 6 years. It probably lasted longer than that, but I only started counting at 6 years. So this was my project that was inspired by Muka's Precious Stone series and also folklore, fashion, and flowers. And I really had an exciting journey finishing all of that. I made pens, I made prints. There's a whole collection of over 100 pieces, and I'll probably link that somewhere in the description of this video. But I'm really proud of myself for finishing that body of work. And I hope everyone enjoyed that journey with me. And without further ado, let's get to the tour of all the art that was created for each month of the year. For January, we have Kalara's Token. This is a portrait of Kalara Vadras, who features heavily in my Exalted stories. I've always drawn her in a semi-anime inspired style, but this is my first try at doing a realistic version of Kalara, which is a challenge with her spiky hair and other elements. So it's really fun to try and find that balance between painterly and anime-esque with her. And in the end, I really liked the results. I think it works out well. And now I've established a look for her going forward with more stories in 2024 about this character and her adventures as a diplomat fashionista gunslinger. For February, we have Level 0 Rabs, and this piece was inspired by a D&D lineup I was drawing for practice and skill building. Rabs is a barbarian I played in a one-shot game, And instead of just having a lineup featuring our characters as advanced adventurers, I wanted to make sure everyone had a level 0. So for Rab's level 0, we get this bratty teenage version of her who was learning to fight in secret since her family did not want her to become a fighter. So she wanted to rebel against that whole role for herself. And we see her here practicing with the palace guards in secret. For March, we have Badima concepts. I ended up having so much fun with Rabs that I wanted to explore her backstory and all of the sisters that she has in her family. Most of them are different types of elemental genasi, including Badima here, who is an earth genasi. And she and Rabs do not get along. Badima is a very serious, dedicated paladin, whereas Rabs is a lot more outgoing and tends to enjoy pranking her very serious sister. In April, I was working on all of the amulet designs for my Birthstone Goddesses. These are available as exclusive stickers for my Patreon patrons, and here's a little peek at how I developed the June amulet design. In May, I was able to finish all 12 Birthstone Goddesses amulet designs and put them into the Wheel of Eternity, which is another exclusive design available via my Patreon. With luck, I'll also be able to take all 12 amulet designs and make actual enamel amulets in 2024. We shall see. June continued with more Birthstone Goddesses work. These were early concepts for the final goddess, which was meant to be the cover for the Birthstone Goddesses 2024 calendar. I did a few different variations exploring the final goddesses cover piece, which I've talked in depth about in the behind the scenes entries in my Patreon, so go check that out if you're curious to learn more about the process of creating this calendar. In July, I decided to participate in the Art Fight event for the first time, which is like an art trading event for artists to draw each other's characters. I had a lot of fun, and I've also done a video about my experience, which you can see on my channel as well. Definitely go check that out if character art is your thing. In August, the year ended up throwing me a curveball to where I couldn't run the Kickstarter that I wanted for the Birthstone Goddesses 2024 calendar. I ended up having to switch to a print-on-demand option instead that had a different size format. So that meant redesigning the cover that I showed earlier to work with the long, skinny format instead. In September, while my existential dread was at its peak, I decided to pull out this old work in progress from last year that was inspired by the Cult of the Lamb video game, which I really enjoyed. And this ended up being the piece that I've declared my level up piece for this year. I learned a lot while I was doing it, and it achieved this balance between painterly and stylized, and it was also very much inspired by tarot art, which I really enjoy. And I've been trying to replicate that look for a while, and I'm still working on it, but this piece got me closer to a personal goal of mine. So it is my level up piece for 2023. In October, I did a few portraits for a Character of the Week challenge that we host over at the Forge of Wonders, which is an Exalted creators and writers Discord server that I help run. This activity ended up being really fun and also quite useful, as it helped me experiment with like the Hades style that you see on the left, and then a more painterly, arcane animated series inspired style on the right. And this was valuable because it helped me pick out what I liked from those styles and then identify what I wanted to do in my own work moving forward. In November, my journey with the Birthstone Goddesses came to an end with the final goddess. After spending so much time working digitally this year, I definitely had to dust off my watercolor palettes when I came back to this piece. She was a challenging journey, but I'm really happy with the final results. If you'd like to see this painting and the other 12 goddesses together as they were meant to be experienced, go check out my shop, which still has the Birthstone Goddesses 2024 calendars available for those of you who are still looking for a calendar for your wall. This piece was the end of an era, and I probably will return to the Birthstone Goddesses at some point, but for now this will probably be the final piece I do in this theme for a good long while. So she's special to me that way, and I hope she's special to y'all too. The year ended with another Character of the Week portrait of an abyssal death knight named Thrice Fallen Affections. There was no particular style that I went for in this piece. It was just pure fun, glittery, gothic indulgence. She has a lot of fun to draw, and it felt like the high note to go out on for this year. My favorite piece that I created this year has to be this one that I created for the Exalted Character of the Week challenge. This was the portrait of Leaping River Orchid, who belongs to Miss Sunny Sweden. And it was just an experiment. I had a lot of fun just casually exploring how would I draw a character in the Arcane animated series style. But I feel like I unlocked something with this piece. She has loose line work, but she still feels very finished when it comes to the color. And the colors also just all worked out. The clothing details really sell her fantastical nature and setting, and maybe it's just the cool hat, I don't know, but something about this piece really worked for me, and I'm really trying to analyze the secret so I can have that kind of consistent result again in the future. So we'll see if I can figure it out. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, appreciate you. You're a champ. My hair's up because I got annoyed with it, and it's now nighttime, so I've lost the light. But that's okay, because we have made it to the goals for 2024. And for my goals, I want to keep making more videos like this one. And I also want to stream more, because if I can't meet people at cons, maybe I can catch you guys online instead. I hope to do stuff like maybe just hop on and do study sessions and invite you guys to join me, or maybe do some gaming, because I do love gaming, and I could share the games that artistically inspire me. And there's just a lot of fun to be had doing streaming if I could just stick to a schedule. So that's one goal. Another major goal of mine in 2024 is to reinvest in myself and my personal projects. I really want to take the time to write more, indulge that writing muse, because I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a double major in art and English, and I do have many story ideas, but the art muse is always kind of one, so I've never really explored those stories to their full potential, but now I want to, because I realize when it comes to the whole threat of generative AI to artists, I feel like it's my voice that is gonna make me stand out. When people look at me or look at the work of a machine, they're gonna pick that human voice, hopefully, because I have something to say, and I want to focus on that. I want to make art and stories that have something to say. So that is my ambitious goal for 2024, is to start indulging in those personal stories that I've always put on the back burner. And finally, final goal, I would like to really push my skills and fundamentals this year. I've done okay, but I feel like I've stagnated a little bit. I really want to push my figures and my backgrounds, and instead of avoiding backgrounds in particular, I'd like to learn programs like Clip Studio Paint so I can start setting up scenes with more complex objects and figures, because I really want to push my storytelling, especially if I'm going to be drawing upon my own characters and narratives. I really need to be able to not only draw a figure, but draw multiple figures interacting and more complex backgrounds that reflect narrative settings. So I'm gonna do it. I swear this year I'm gonna learn some Clip Studio Paint. Some final thoughts. This year has been a rough one, but also kind of a freeing one. My husband and I are more independent than we have ever been financially, and that has allowed me to actually stop and heal and take a deep breath, and also recognize the fact that because we're more stable now, I can start saying no to the jobs that don't agree with me, that don't pay well, that aren't going to help my portfolio, and I can start spending more time doing the personal projects that I've neglected because we've always been trying to survive and get by. And that's it's terrifying to have this freedom, but I'm really excited for 2024 because we'll finally be where we're transitioning into this mode of life where I can write more. I can hopefully really start bringing all those stories to life that I've always wanted to bring to you guys. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll bring you more videos, more characters, more stories, and you won't see the last of me. Like, I won't be falling off the planet anymore like I've been doing for the past 3 years while we've been going through some stuff. So thank you to everyone who has stuck with me and given me support just online by giving me a comment of encouragement, or through my Patreon where you guys have been supporting me constantly through thick and through thin, even when I haven't been the most productive. So it's appreciated. It really changes my life. And here's to an amazing 2024. Thanks for watching and wishing you all inspiration.